University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire TV-10 Residence Hall Cable. An unusual name for an unusual television station. This station is not licensed by the Federal Communications Commission. Therefore, it has no call letters. It runs no commercial advertising, so it has no steadily incoming funds. There are no full-time employees. Not one of the staff members has any kind of degree in television, communications, or journalism. The station is virtually unknown to people living a half-mile away from the studio. As television stations go, these are rather strange characteristics. Exactly what is TV-10? TV-10 is found on the campus of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. It transmits its signal via the residence hall cable system, located in the 9 residence halls and Hilltop, Crest, and Davies centers. The TV-10 studio is found in the basement of Towers Residence Hall, where it produces the shows that make up more than half of its total programming, a percentage much higher than most commercial stations. But the most striking characteristic of TV-10 is that it is completely run by students, the first student-run television station in the country. TV-10 provides over 30 hours of television entertainment weekly to the more than 3,000 students living in the dormitories. Any student on the Eau Claire campus can help in the station's operations simply by showing an interest. How did it start? How does it run? This show is a detailed look at TV-10, from its conception to present operation, and even a look at TV-10's future. The first event that would lead to the organization of TV-10 was the installation of a cable system throughout the dorms. At the time, there was question as to whether housing should install its own cable system or contract the service to the local cable company and pay the rate for its use. The installation of housing's own cable system took place in 1975. Because the housing department would manage the system itself, it had the capability of originating live telecasts, if it wished to do so. Signal origination points were installed in the meeting room of the piano lounge, in the study lounge, and in the director of housing's office. The live telecast capability was to be used as an outlet for information and a means of instructions during an emergency. When the installation was completed, the housing department entered the area of television broadcast. Assistant Director of Housing, Charles Major, comments.
We started out pretty small. I ordered one black and white camera and one 3/4 inch tape recorder to give it a try, and we were both novices in this area, and we really hadn't opened it up too much to the students at that point yet, this particular venture, and quickly found out that there was an awful lot to learn about the whole concept of television. And so I did find some students who were pretty knowledgeable about this whole area who started working with me right off the bat.
These students were to form the first TV-10 staff, but before this studio could begin, additional equipment had to be purchased. This is where the progression to today's TV-10 met its roughest times. Housing is a department of the university, thus also within its jurisdiction. Until this time, administrative approval for the cable system and its live telecast capability had come relatively easily. But expansion into a small television studio drew debate about its justification.
It was not very easy at first because there were a lot of people throughout the entire campus who thought that this was really a foolish venture and not an area that we should be getting involved in. But after all, we did have a television studio on lower campus that was very well equipped and that could be used by the students. However, it was primarily for the use of students who were in those particular fields of electronic journalism, electronic speech. And it was pretty well used by those particular classes. In fact, sometimes even the students in those classes couldn't get in and use the equipment when they wanted to. Our philosophy here in the residence halls is that we're a continuation of the classroom experience, the classroom educational experience, that we're more than just a hotel or a motel where students sleep at night, that we want to offer them opportunities to expand their horizons, both information-wise, education-wise, and creativity-wise.
This philosophy led to the first TV-10 studio, located in the meeting room of the Piano Lounge, in 1977. The room acted as studio, control room, and office for the staff. Equipment included 2 black and white cameras, 2 3/4-inch video cassette recorders, a portable black and white reel videotape recorder, a mic mixer, and a color monitor. For the most part, the staff produced one show regularly. Here are some cuts from the first TV-10 production, What in the Hall is Going On, taped October 27th, 1976.
Hi, and welcome to the first broadcast of What in the Hall is Going On. This is a news and information show that will be coming to you Wednesday nights at 6 and 10:30 p.m. Our main focus will be on residence hall life, and the staff of our show is myself, Connie Hutchison, Mike Tresky, Jim Heim, Jerry Consi, John Graffa, and Steve Zantow.
We'd like to remind you that Tuesday is the big election for the nation, and you can vote in Davies Center at all day, I presume. Campus-wide flu shots will be given November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to all people ages 18 and over for no charge. This will be in Southwood's room of the Davies Center from 9 to 5 o'clock.
Now, as a special feature, to acquaint you with one of the important organizations that we have on campus, Inter-Residence Hall Council, we have with us John Graffa, who is president of the organization. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you think is the philosophy or purpose of IRHC?
Okay. Each hall has its own government, as everyone in the halls should know anyway. And as the Inter-Residence Hall Council, what we attempt to do is be a collective lobby or be a collective voice for all those governments so they can come together and both change perhaps university rules if they wish to do that, or more fully utilize what they have as a group.
Right now, we'd like to go to the Channel 10 intramural scoreboard. A Halloween disco dance and costume party will be held this Friday at Hilltop Center. It is open to all dorms, and this is sponsored by all the dorms, and there will be a reduced gate price for the people with activity cards. The price is 25 cents with an activity card and $1 without. And right now we have a very special event. We have a visit from the Great Pumpkin herself. Hi, Great Pumpkin.
Hello.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you. I just came over to remind everybody about the dance on Friday night at Hilltop, and I hope that everybody comes with their costume.
Why the sunglasses, Pump?
Well, I don't want people to recognize me before the real day.
A little incognito.
Right,
Huh?
right.
Oh, do you have any questions for this pleasing pumpkin here?
Where'd you get that great costume?
Oh, I don't know. I had my tailor made it the other day, I guess. So just come to the disco dance on Friday night in Hilltop from 7 to 11 and have your costume judged.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you in the patch.
Bye-bye.
If you have any information or any publicity you would like to have put on Channel 10, please feel free to get some information forms from your head resident or from IRHC. And if you have any questions at all pertaining Channel 10, please feel free to contact Mr. Chuck Majors or Mr. Steve Zantow. That's about it for right now. We'd like to again remind you that Play Misty for Me will be shown at 11 o'clock Friday and Saturday night right here on Channel 10. So until next week, this is it for now.
Perhaps the most important event in the series leading to the present studio was the move into the present location in the basement of Towers in 1978. There had been a large open room, much like the present social room in Towers. It was used as a television lounge by the Towers men. After careful consideration, the housing department decided to move the TV-10 studio into this room, mainly because there was also television viewing available in the piano lounge. The floor plans were drawn by a student, another example of TV-10's student orientation. The move would allow for permanent wiring and a much more workable environment. The 1978-79 school year saw the greatest equipment investments, including the move to color. Mr. Major comments.
That again was looked upon with a little bit of skepticism by a lot of people because they said that this is going to be very difficult to work with color and very, very hard. Well, as things would happen too, the state of the art became increasingly better too, and so color cameras that weren't terribly expensive were available at a reasonable price and at a fairly reasonable quality.
Another major investment for this year was the purchase of the Special Effects Generator, or SEG, and its accompanying monitors. The 78-79 purchases, equaling almost $25,000, did not add to the studio's capability as much as it improved the quality of TV-10's productions.
It was always exciting along the way because we always felt, well, now we've gotten as far as we want to go, but there was always somebody coming up with a new suggestion.
The 1979-80 year saw the addition of a VHS format video cassette recorder and a routing switcher that would allow programming shows on the air while recording shows in the studio. Last year, a more advanced routing switcher, videotape editor, editing 3/4-inch VCR deck, and a character generator were put into operation. Today's facility consists of a reception area, office, taping studio, observation area, and a set room. Today's control room would be almost unrecognizable to someone who helped move into this studio in 1978. Equipment includes a special effects generator, control room monitor, routing switcher, audio board and patch panel, character generator, 3 3/4-inch video cassette recorders, a videotape editor, 2 1/2-inch VHS video cassette recorders, 3 color cameras, 2 black and white cameras, and a portable 3/4-inch video cassette recorder. The funds for all of this equipment has come from the housing department, which is a self-sustaining operation, meaning that it may only purchase with funds that it raises. UW-EC generally has over 100% dorm occupancy due to students living in the lounges. This extra money, raised from the above 100% occupancy, has been used to purchase some of the most costly items. Revenue from food sales at the residence hall front desks is also used to buy equipment. Purchasing in these ways ensures that taxpayers and students who don't have access to TV-10 don't have to pay for it.
I feel right now that we've come to a level where I'm fairly satisfied with. At least I think we're at a level where we can do a lot of good things, a lot of interesting things. One of our major goals right now is to keep the equipment that we have in good shape and replace it as it's being worn out.
The accumulation of more and better equipment throughout the history of TV-10 has increased the technicality and quality of production. But equipment can't produce shows by itself. People must operate this equipment and work with as much cooperation and coordination. Let's take a look at TV-10's staff organization. TV-10 is a part of housing, which is a department of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. This puts TV-10 under the auspices of the University of Wisconsin system. The long line of jurisdictions through the system and UW-EC administration becomes evident when waiting for one of TV-10's equipment orders. We will concentrate our observation to organization within the Housing Department. Final approval for decisions involving TV-10 within the department come from Dr. Douglas Hallett, Director of Housing. Assistant Director of Housing Charles Major, the official advisor of TV-10, is the final administrator before the organizational structure is turned over to students. Mr. Major tries to leave as many aspects of TV-10 operations to students as is practical. Student staff organization is divided into a number of positions. TV-10's ever-changing and experimenting nature is seen even in this staff organization. In its beginning, TV-10 had 2 co-directors, one in charge of production and one in charge of programming. In other words, one director would oversee the elements that go into the taping of shows, and the other concentrated on the scheduling of shows and materials that went into the time the station was on the air. In the spring of 1981, a new system involving a general director and assistant general director went into effect. The general director would be assigned all of the duties that the co-directors had, and he would then assign some of them to the assistant general director. We will take a look at an example of all of the organizational staff positions and their duties. This is only an example because there are no written responsibilities. The general director organizes the schedule of productions that take place during the week. He sees that none will overlap and that there is enough time between productions for setup. He coordinates the program elements so that the talent and technical people are organized and is sure that sets are prepared for shows. He organizes social events such as tours and T-shirt sales and leads the general meeting. The general director also plans the schedule of programs on a weekly basis. As mentioned earlier, the assistant general director performs the duties assigned by the general director. During the 81-82 year, the assistant general director organized the programming by supervising the running of scheduled shows. He organized the trivia question contest, which takes place during programming, and mailed prizes to winners of this contest and the game shows. The technical director is basically in charge of the equipment. He instructs the staff members in operation of equipment and keeps it running through minor repairs and cleaning. The technical director also presents requests for new equipment to Mr. Major. Students check out movies and equipment from the technical director for viewing in the dormitories' social rooms. The staff coordinator position can be handled by 1 or 2 people. Duties include organizing the incentive program, which will be mentioned later, communicating with show sponsors, and writing and mailing the weekly newsletter to staff members. The position of news director can also be held by 1 or 2 people. The news director picks the news talent with help from other organizational staff members, prepares a news format, oversees the news writing, and helps to coordinate the actual production of the newscast. The game show coordinator works on the 3 game shows, choosing talent, scheduling contestants, and overseeing creative aspects, such as the writing of questions. The Public Relations Director calls attention to TV-10's special upcoming productions or gathers contestants for game shows by producing and distributing posters and table tents. Finally, the Special Projects Coordinator works on special programming, such as coffee houses and telethons. He may also work in producing sets. None of these lists of duties is complete. Many of the duties are quite specialized, but all contribute to the station's smooth operation. Mr. Major prefers to remain somewhat detached from the studio, allowing the students to discuss problems openly. Ideas and comments are relayed between Mr. Major and the staff through a series of meetings. Each Monday afternoon, the General Director, Assistant General Director, and the Technical Director meet with Mr. Major to discuss aspects of TV-10. Ideas for improvements are mentioned, the productions for the week ahead are discussed, special upcoming projects are talked about, and a report on the equipment, including needed repairs and requests for new equipment, is presented. Following this meeting with Mr. Major, the 3 directors plan their agenda for the upcoming general meeting. In 1981-82, the general meetings were held at 5 p.m. on Mondays. All members of the station's staff are to attend. At this time, comments from Mr. Major are relayed, upcoming events are mentioned, members can comment on topics they wish, and each of the organizational staff members can give a report. This is also when the production sheets get passed. Each production that is to be taped during the week has a production sheet. This is a pink sheet with the name and date of the production listed at the top. Underneath this, there is a line for each of the crew positions needed for the show. These sheets are passed among the members on a clipboard at the general meeting. When a staffer sees a crew position he would like to fill, he signs his name and comes to the studio on the day and time listed. New people can also sign up. They are usually trained before the actual show or while the show is in progress. These production sheets are then placed on the production board outside the control room so staffers can check back to see when they are signed up, or so people who could not attend the meeting can still sign up if there is a position available. The crew positions and their duties are as follows. The lighting person sets the lights soon enough before the production, so setting isn't a distraction or hindrance to the talent or cameras. The floor manager informs the talent of the director's wishes, helps set up the cameras, cues the talent, and helps the cameras move during the course of the show. The camera people set up and take down the cameras and operate them during the show. Technicians record the show, cue and roll commercials, video segments, and any music needed, and sets the keying camera if this is needed. The assistant director sets up the microphones and patch panel for the show and runs the audio board and routing switcher during the production. The director picks camera shots and other program elements used for the show and coordinates these elements into the final production. Each of these duties is slightly different for each show. Speaking of shows, television shows are not conceived in the morning and taped in the afternoon. The planning is a rather long and detailed process, but can be very gratifying when the show is finally aired. TV-10 is an outlet for any student's creative abilities. Therefore, new ideas are welcomed. The process of developing a new show starts with the Think Book. The Think Book is a black loose-leaf notebook found in the reception area of the studio. This is a sample page used for 10 Magazine, a show that was actually produced. The thinker writes his ideas down on one of the sheets, then removes it from the book and turns it into the general or assistant general director. The general director will go over the sheet and schedule a meeting with the thinker to discuss the show. The discussion is not about whether the show will be done or not, but about the problems that could arise in producing the show. When these problems are overcome, the discussion concerns the talent and set construction. Set construction can be done by the individual or with the help of the special projects coordinator. Once the set is completed, a mock or practice production is run. The show is now ready to be produced. TV-10 has had a number of one-show specials produced in this way. Other shows have become standards and are still being recorded. Others, meant to become standards, have been canceled for various reasons, but have been fun to work on anyway. We will now take a look at the shows that have been seen on TV-10 and their histories. Earlier, we saw some scenes from TV-10's first regularly produced show, What in the Hall is Going On? Another show produced on a somewhat regular basis in 1977 was KT Half Hourly. Although it was produced by the Catherine Thomas Dormitory, it did air on TV-10 and staff members helped produce it.
Thank you, Bob. And here we are at the scene of the first annual UW-EC Hill Climb. The UW-EC Mountain Climbing Club this year is a very dedicated organization. They've put a lot of planning and effort into this first climb of the season. They've been at it about 15 minutes now, and if their calculations are correct at all, they should be reaching the top within another 45 minutes or so.
One particular show of the series will always be remembered, The Killer Cushman.
did you hear about those mysterious deaths on campus?
They're awful. I'm afraid to go on the street anymore.
I am too. I wish they'd bring the student senate in or something. I'm just about terrified to go out. I heard something about 3 people getting killed.
3 of them?
Right outside Schofield, outside the library, and next will be the footbridge. Who knows where? You're not safe in your own bathroom. I just can't even imagine such a thing.
1978, the year that TV-10 moved to its present studio, saw the beginning of TV-10's first game show, Wing Feud. Based on Family Feud, the game matches 5-member teams representing wings. This wing participation has made Wing Feud the most popular TV-10 production. The show was hosted by Chuck Brooks for 3 years. Scott Schoen is the current host.
Name something sold at baseball games. Chris.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Good answer.
Are hot dogs up there? Number 1. Chris, on a player pass.
I think we'll accept the challenge.
Accept the challenge of excellence. And Pat.
I'd say popcorn.
Popcorn. There's been no strikes yet. You've got 75 points. Is popcorn up there? Yes.
I have the definitive answer.
You do.
Cracker Jacks.
Cracker Jacks.
Good answer.
That's like buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Take me out to the ball game.
Yeah. That would have to be up there, huh?
Check the next verse for that.
No clues here. Is Cracker Jack up there? No. Oh. Second to start to your first answer. 15 seconds on the clock. And there it is. And here's the first question. Name someone besides a relative who would always recognize you.
My friend.
Something a man wears when relaxing.
His slippers.
A speedy animal.
A horse.
A popular form of recreation.
Basketball.
Something you fix rather than throw away.
Your car.
Okay, good. Yeah, name something a man wears when relaxing, and you said what?
My slippers. His slippers.
He wears your slippers. This is, yeah, okay. Something a man wears when relaxing, and you said Connie's slippers. Connie's slippers were worth how many points? 30.
1979 saw the introduction of TV-10's second game show, The Roommate Game. This game, based on The Newlywed Game, matches teams of roommates. Original host Bill Domino worked the show for 1 year. Lois Hanson followed for 1 semester. The game lay dormant for 1 semester, being revived in the fall of 1981 with host Gary Camphouse. The show was rapidly regaining popularity. Welcome back, having a good game this time. Believe me, it's true. We have these questions here. We're going to ask these teams. We'll get into these right away. Some interesting things to talk about, I think. Our first question for 5 points. This one's not so interesting, but we'll get through it. Barb, what is your favorite restaurant in Eau Claire? What's your favorite restaurant? Simple.
Yeah. Primarily pizza.
Is it? So then you're really playing for blood to get that
Yes,
prize.
I am.
Okay, and the answer, Kathy?
I'm sorry.
McDonald's. Okay, Mary Jo.
Say the question again.
Okay, Joe, I asked Joan the question, and Joan said that you had the sex appeal of a what?
Armadillo.
Armadillo. Not many people know, but SCTV, you know, Doug and Bob McKenzie got the idea from that commercial. They did, because of our background there. What? Look at that sometime. They did. Believe me, that's how we got the money to do a lot of this stuff. Well, our next question. For today, move on into 40 points. Tie for the lead there. Finally, down to Joan and Mary Jo. Correct answer here will give you 45 points in the win, the pizza, and the whole works. If not, you'll be in last place. Joan, your middle name?
Marie.
Marie. And Mary Jo? Marie! They win 45 points. 1979 also saw the first airing of The Christmas Coffee House, or rather, variety show. These shows have become an annual live telecast, taking place at Halloween and Christmas.
to leave, just close your eyes and please remember when.
The annual TV-10 telethon for various charities also started in 1979.
Yes. We need phone calls. We've had a lot of challenges, but we need some pledges. $1 pledge, 50 cents. People, before you go out and you decide to visit the street or decide to go to a movie or have a pizza, just drop off $1. We've got a fishbowl down here, anything.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy.
Just watch out for the tinfoil.
Get all over the hair.
Get hair, boy. Get all the hair.
Where is that ply?
Get his eyebrows.
Goodbye, Rich.
Oh, all right. I'm speechless.
Look out.
1, 2, 3.
1980 saw the beginning of Team Trivia. This was the first completely original format game show. It was hosted for one semester by Kevin Stadler and one semester by Tim Jopek. After laying dormant for over a year, an attempt is being made by Scott Anderson to bring the show back with a reconstruction of the format.
Okay, next question. Who is Alfred E. Newman?
He's Mad Magazine's cover boy.
Good.
Right.
Not exactly like Cheryl Tiegs or anything, but he is kind of cute. What movie won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1976?
Rocky.
Yep.
Good job.
All right, first question. What is the name of the city closest to the Cartwrights Ranch?
Virginia City.
What is the name of their Chinese cook?
Hop Sing.
What is the name of the Cartwrights Ranch?
The Ponderosa.
Who played Little Joe?
Michael Landon.
Who played the father?
Lauren Green.
They get 25 points. There.
1980 was also the start of sports broadcasting. Blue Gold basketball was the first totally remote taping by TV-10. Announcers Phil Frosch and Bill Domina covered the games that year. Phil and Craig Handel covered the basketball games for the 81-82 season.
Meeks and Kinchy are seniors on the team. There goes Tony. His shot certainly isn't on. Rebounded by Ewing, and Ewing, the big man, brings it up the court. He seems to be the only shooter on the team, and he seems to be doing quite a lot of the dribbling, too, bringing it up court and such. There goes Kinchy into Ewing again, this time stolen by Bob Coonan. Outlet to Jensen. Jensen almost loses it. But Mariachi has control now. There they go, inside to Jensen. Reverse layup, and the basket's going to count, and there's a foul. Kulas takes the shot over Rick Dahl and puts it in. For Kulas, that's 6 points. 75-68, 25 seconds coming down on the clock. Tony's got the ball. They got a foul. Nope, there's the pass intercepted by Zeiker. He's going to take it all the way. No, he loses it. He's called for charging. He just kept battling tonight, and you keep working, and then finally something will come through for you. Saxelby gets it over to Dahl. We're under 10 seconds now. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Saxelby's going to hold on to it. They're not going to foul him, and the Blue Gold's winning.
Sports has become a large part of TV-10's production. The first football game was covered on a rainy Saturday afternoon in the fall of 1981.
Now as McClymon's in motion, there's a handoff up the middle to number 44, Ron Schmaltz, and he's across the 25, possibly to the 26, 27-yard line. Pickup of 4, he'll be pickup of 3, he'll be second down and 7.
Tony Shook in on the tackle for Eau Claire.
But that's what I guess you'd call a deep drop there by Rohrwasser. His pass was just a little underthrown, and
If not, Gus Padera could have had the first down catch. As it is, Platteville has it, 2nd down and 7, as we hit the 7-minute mark in the third quarter. This time Zygardy in motion, big hole for Schmalz into the open field, across the 50. March is going to get him, but it's not before he has a big gain. Ron Schmalz taking that ball up the middle, found it down the sidelines and went across the 42, the 38-yard line. Big run, and Platteville has it,
There's
1st and 10.
Schmalz. Broke the hole over the middle, got outside for a big gain, and it appears that Eau Claire seems to be just waiting around for Platteville to make mistakes, and Platteville keeps coming at him, keeps ball control, and now on the 37 of Eau Claire.
36-yard pickup for Schmalz as he carries again, and this time Tony Shook is there and ready for him.
Swimming was covered first in late '81, hockey was covered for the first time in 1982, and baseball was covered in April of '82. In an attempt to separate from game show-dominated productions, Bill Domina taped a series of shows in 1980 called Political Arena. Jim Mertens continued the talk show idea in 1981 with Feedback, a call-in talk show. Both talk shows are no longer produced, but could be started again.
The university is pretty well built now. With the Allied Health building, we will be reasonably well equipped.
1980 was the first year that Progressive Exercise and Dancercise was taped. This physical fitness show often closes TV-10's programming day.
8, 9, 10, let's do 5 more for good measure.
Some shows that have had short runs on TV-10 include 1979's Brooks and Hatfield Comedy Show, 1980's 60-Second Pyramid, The Louis Leffler Show, 1981's Dating Game, People People, 10 Magazine, and The Comedy Squad. New shows for the 1981-82 season include Eau Claire Entertainment, which was formerly Critical Review, This Week in Sports, The Link Walker Show, and Cooking Corner. This season saw the first show that became a regular live program. Focus News airs live on Monday and Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Focus News is a descendant of the first TV-10 show, What in the Hall is Going On? This became Dateline, which became Focus News in 1980.
Phillips Science Hall was evacuated yesterday afternoon after the Safety and Security Office received a call about a possible bomb threat. The call occurred at approximately 12:45 p.m. The caller stated that he had heard a couple of guys talking about a bomb in Phillips. Safety and Security Director Wallace O'Neill said the call wasn't really a bomb threat and they did not choose to treat it as such.
Today, Market & Johnson, general contractors of a $1 million addition to the center, began surveying the area. According to Johannes Dale, director of University Centers, the bookstore and food service will be expanding and space for functions will also be increased. Dale said the addition, which will also include remodeling of present facilities, will come at a time when the facilities are not as large as the university's population. The addition's projected finish date is in the summer of 1983. For TV-10 News, this is Kevin Voigt.
Good evening, everyone. The United States said yesterday that it deplores Israeli air raids on Lebanon and Palestinian actions that sparked the attacks. Dozens of Israeli jets thundered into Lebanon early yesterday, blasting guerrilla bases and downing 2 Syrian planes that shattered a 9-month truce in the Palestinian Liberation Organization. The raids along a 50-mile stretch of territory killed more than 20 people and wounded more than 80 others.
We'll look initially here at the national temperatures. These are projected highs for today. Started off with a 70 up in Seattle, and 82 in Los Angeles, a 74 in San Francisco, an 83 in Phoenix, a 64 in Denver, a 68 in Dallas, a 75 in New Orleans, a 66 in St. Louis, a 55 in Chicago, a 59 in the Twin Cities, a 56 in New York, a 62 in the nation's capital, an 86 in Tampa, and a 65 in Atlanta. A year ago today, the high was 60 degrees and the low was 37 degrees. And the normal high is 61 degrees and the normal low is 37. So, Katie, I just love this kind of weather, and I think we've got it coming because we've just had a terrible winter, and I think it's about time we get some real summer-like temperatures.
Absolutely no chance of rain this weekend, right, Kevin?
Well, I would bet on it, Katie, I guess. It should be just a fine weekend. Very little chance of rain.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Kevin.
Rick Olson, the State Player of the Year, announced yesterday to attend the University of Wisconsin-Madison next fall instead of Marquette like he intended on doing. New basketball coach for the Badgers, Steve Yoder, had met with Olson for 90 minutes Tuesday, but was not too optimistic about getting Olson, even though things had gone very good between the two. After meeting with Yoder, Olson said he went on a long walk to get his head together. While Olson was taking his walk, UW football coach Dave McClain and pro golfer Andy North met with Olson's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Roger Olson, to talk about Rick and the university. The Quebec Nordics beat the Boston Bruins 4-3. Pete Statson scored 2 goals and assisted on one on the winning goal by his brother Marion, which now gives the Nordics a 3-2 game lead in their series.
Another new and exciting aspect of TV-10 is the broadcast of TV-10 shows on Public Access Channel 8 on the Eau Claire City cable system. TV-10's coverage of the 1980 Homecoming Parade was the first show used on Channel 8.
Right now you see VFW Post 305. A 5-member group carrying the flags of the VFW Post and of course the United States. Coming up first in our parade will be the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire Marching Band. And ladies and gentlemen, the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire Marching Band.
The 1981 parade and coverage of a swim meet have also been used. Cooking Corner, a cooking show sponsored by Kerm's Superfoods, will soon become the first regularly scheduled show TV-10 has aired on PAC-8. Speaking of sponsors, TV-10's game show prizes are provided by a number of local establishments. Wing Feud is sponsored by Tombstone Pizza and Modern Screen Printing. And the Roommate Game is sponsored by Primarily Pizza. Those are the shows that TV-10 has produced, but the story does not stop here. These shows have to be aired. This area of TV-10 is called programming. The programming department, so to speak, consists of 5 people, each assigned to a night of the week, with an alternation to cover Saturday nights. Programming starts at 6:30 p.m. and normally lasts until 11 p.m. Quite often, though, the programming of a special sports event or movie will cause programming to run later, many times until after 1 a.m. TV-10 programming has not always been this ample. The 1979-80 year had 3 hours of programming 5 days a week. Most of the shows were syndicated shows, not produced by TV-10. In between shows, the screen would be black and the person programming would have a chance to use his creative ability through verbal communication to the audience in a kind of radio style. Campus messages and the calendar of events were read. 1980 saw the expansion of programming hours to 5 nights per week and 1 movie on Saturday. The nightly trivia contest began at this time. A trivia question was read on the air, and the first caller with the correct answer would win a can of soda. In late 1980, the station acquired the character generator. This unit allows the studio to transmit a signal 24 hours per day. When the station is not programming shows, the character generator flashes messages that are updated daily. The red pages inform the viewer of campus news, including the food service menu. Blue pages are for TV-10 related messages, one page for the program schedule for the next night. There's a page for weather and a crawl line at the bottom. A radio station is aired with the message center. TV-10 allows the programmer a unique situation. In normal broadcast television, the audience is made up of many different ages and types of people. Programming must appeal to as wide a group as possible. At TV-10, the entire audience is students, so the programming can be aimed directly at them. Some creative and humorous ideas have resulted. Each programmer has his own style, so watching TV-10 is a little different each night, but it's the shows that are most important during programming. More than half of TV-10's programming is original shows. This is a much higher percentage than commercial stations, whose new shows are generally their only original productions. The other large part of TV-10 programming is movies. TV-10 currently has 57 movies that are unedited copies of the original Movie House films. They are normally shown uninterrupted. Students often watch TV-10 for the first time to see one of these movies. A movie is shown on Tuesday nights, and there are double features on Friday and Saturday nights. The other portion of TV-10 programming is syndicated shows like Rock World, Time Life Videos, and the Modern Satellite Network. Each semester, the reliance on syndicated shows decreases. Each night, there is still a trivia question, which is quite popular. Equipment is purchased, used, repaired, used again, and finally discarded. The people that run this equipment can't be purchased. Housing can't pay staff members a sizable wage, so why do staff members devote their time to TV-10?
I think TV-10 has given me a good experience in working with people and getting along with people, learning about something that I otherwise would probably never get a chance to work with, equipment that I've never get a chance to work with. It's given me a lot of good experience.
The people here, everyone's so nice down here. I mean, you can screw up and nobody really yells at you. But I don't know, the experience is really, this is something I've never thought I'd ever get into because I'm a nursing student, so who'd ever thought I'd be down here running a camera or something else. So I think the experience on the machines and then the experience with the people.
The housing department does show its appreciation to staff members through the incentive program. This program started in the fall of 1979. 1 credit is awarded for each show worked. Credit is awarded in 8 areas: camera, porta-pack, lighting, technician, assistant director, floor manager, director, and on-camera. The credits in a particular area are added together to achieve 4 levels: trained, competence, mastery, and excellence. For each level achieved, the staffer receives a certificate and a star on the incentive board located in the reception area. Upon reaching excellence in 5 areas, the staff member is awarded a jacket. Another recognition program is the Super Staffer Award. This is awarded to members that, for some reason, have gone above and beyond the call of duty in bettering the studio. The incentive and Super Staffer programs are ways of thanking students for work at TV-10. But staffers don't work simply because of these programs. They work because they enjoy what they are doing.
My biggest thrill is doing the basketball games, and the first one was the Parkside game last year where we won in overtime, and I was screaming into the mic, and Bill Domino was my co-host, and we were both getting excited, and 3,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs and so on.
I enjoyed covering the basketball games.
I guess the best times I've had were the basketball games that we've done. And I guess a feeling of accomplishment.
What I'll remember about TV-10 when I get old, when I leave, I think I'll remember the people more than any of the incidents. I've liked working down here. I've liked the people I've worked with. I'll always remember the feeling of accomplishment when I learned to use a piece of equipment correctly and effectively.
I think what I enjoyed the most was working on the football games, especially the first one when it rained, and it was the very first game that we did. I had a good time doing that, running camera, even though I wasn't too good at it at first.
Probably a good thing to remember was how we went to a football game in not a driving rainstorm, but it was a pretty good rainstorm, and well, they kind of risked our video equipment taping the football game, but we had it all covered up with plastic bags, and about the only thing that really got wet was the people that had to run the cameras for both halves. That's, you know, that I'll have to remember for a long time. The basketball games, it's a lot of the stuff remote, the remotes, a lot of that kind of stuff I'll remember, because, you know, you got so many studio things and studio productions, and I'm just, you know, another studio production, you know, they're all the same. They're getting to be all the same to me already now, because they're, you know, they're relatively easy, because you're not really doing nothing technical. You're just watching a recorder run or something like that.
Okay. I think I remember. We don't see them as often this year as we did last year. Is the meals after productions, when everyone was together and there'd be salt shakers flying and in general fooling around. Or the parties afterward, the pizza parties, or the where people get to be real people and they're not simply someone behind the camera or someone running a VTR. When you get to know the people who, you get to really know the people who are running the equipment, and it's not merely a staff member. The people are once again at a friend level and no longer at a general director to staff member, or a technician to assistant director level.
It's hard to judge success in television because of the lack of audience feedback. Commercial television uses ratings to judge its success. The TV-10 staff must judge their own success.
Improvements have been remarkable. Technologically, I think it's probably the greatest area of improvement for the studio. It just amazes me, the ability of the studio. And the creativity, I think, is a great improvement, because, you know, we're not a major television studio. We don't have huge panel boards and cameras and all the remote equipment that one of the local stations might. But still, you know, the members of the studio find different ways to use the equipment and use it to its 100% maximum ability. You know, they'll drag it out to location and, you know, and take pictures, and I think that they look just as fine as some of the, you know, professional stuff.
They must also judge their own shortcomings.
One thing I'd like to see changed about TV-10, I'd like to see it become more concerned with the quality of productions, but that's hard to do because the main idea of TV-10 is hands-on experience, to come down here and let people who don't know anything about equipment play with the equipment. And you can't have quality productions if you do that, so...
It's natural for TV-10 to compare our quality to, let's say, the local stations or network TV, which is rather unjust when you consider the facilities we have here.
Some of the things that really need to be improved may be having more people involved in TV-10. With 3,000 people in the residence halls, I think we should have more than 40 people down here. I don't know if they're afraid that they're going to have to work or what, but I think it's really important too for a freshman to get involved in some kind of extracurricular activity, whether it be any kind of club on campus or anything like that, because there's more to your college life than just studying. And a lot of people say they don't have time. Well, you know, you can always make time if it's something you like.
The concept or the feeling that we had back in '75 and '76, the concept that we felt that where we could go, we've exceeded that many times over. We really didn't have any definite time plan that we wanted to meet certain goals by certain times, but I think that if I had put down a time schedule of arriving at certain areas, certain levels of operation, I really couldn't be more pleased in what I am by what we have done, by what the students have done. I think I really never even felt that we would get as far as we are right now, because I just felt that it would be an area that students could work in slowly and gradually, but I found that many students have taken a very intense interest and have really gone at it in a much more than just an extracurricular thing, but in some cases a very professional way. I've been very pleased with the various types of entertainment type of shows that have been produced, created, game shows. I've been very pleased with the type of special features that students have done now and in the past. Some very interesting interviews and in-depth interviews. I've been very pleased with the level that we've attained in our news and sports areas, and as well as in some of our special feature areas. It's just been really exceeded much further than I'd ever anticipated it would be. Even people who are using their talents in creating sets and that type of thing. This type of production offers, I think, a wide variety of students a lot of channels to vent their creativity, both behind the camera and in front of the camera. So I am very, very happy with where we are right now.
The TV-10 staff will continue to improve themselves and the quality of productions. Equipment will be repaired and improved. A demodulator unit currently being installed will allow live broadcast from any television wall outlet as early as next year. Funds may become tight and overall student apathy may increase, but as long as there is a handful of dedicated students and a supportive housing department, TV-10 will survive.